What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Ranger Central, and today we are going to wrap up the trade deadline series I've been doing here on the channel, as we are going to be looking at the bigger name forwards here in this video. As the previous one, we looked at defensemen. Before that, we looked at underrated guys, and before that, we looked at some of the depth forwards that the Rangers could sign. So if you haven't checked all of those out, go check it out. And if you haven't seen them and you're just going to watch this one first, the thing that I will say with this is that I understand that some of these guys might not be available come the trade deadline. This is all under the hypothetical that they are available, and I'll admit that there are some unrealistic ones on here, but it's fun to discuss and it's fun to throw names out there. And none of these guys are really unrealistic because of cap reasons, because all of them, I think all of them are expiring players except for one, I think. And then outside of that, it would really be a matter more of just three teams getting involved to make a trade work. But yeah, before we jump into it, leave a like on the video if you enjoy, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. But let's get into it, and let's kick things off with everybody's favorite. And he's back, baby. Patrick Kane of the Detroit Red Wings. He is looking good over there in Detroit on the year in only 16 games played. So small sample size, 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points. So he has been getting back to the pace where, you know, he's been at pretty much his whole career. Not above a point per game, but he's getting close to a point per game, which everybody kind of expected some sort of regression, but not an insane amount like people made it out to be with them. But I get it. People were skeptical about the hip, and now he's proven that he's looked good since the hip. And if anything, he's kind of been better since he's gotten this hip surgery than he was last year. Because the big difference is he actually plays defense. You look at all the metrics, his defensive analytics back up that he's been really good. If anything, his offense is kind of being undervalued right now. And maybe if his offensive game improves a bit, it will start to get him going even further. He's not a 50% Corsi guy, but Detroit's also not been that great this year. He's playing with, I think, Alex DeBrincat as well as, I think it's JT Compher as a center. Only 4 PIMs on the year as well. Doesn't have a lot of power play points right now like he usually does, so that's another thing kind of holding back his normal point production, is that Detroit's power play has not been that effective, at least with them on it. So yeah, and then you look at the miscellaneous stats, not going to pop off the chart. None of these guys will, because they're kind of big name guys, but we'll go over them anyway. He would be 15th on the Rangers in hits per 60, 17th in block shots per 60, 15th in takeaways per 60, and a minimum of 25 games played. But yeah, and obviously he hasn't, but still, for just that's the cutout for looking at the list. But yeah, with Patrick Kane, he's definitely not the analytics darling. He's becoming more of it now that he's gotten back. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what the Rangers would do there. They didn't end up signing him, so who knows if he's going to want to come back after that whole thing. Or maybe the Rangers couldn't make it work, and he does want to come back, and the Rangers will try to make it work at the deadline. It all depends on what he prefers, and it depends, of course, if Detroit slips out of the race. But Patrick Kane is definitely an option, and that's the first one on the list here. Next up on the list, we got Andrew Mangiapane of the Calgary Flames, and this guy, I don't know if he's going to be available because of the fact that he does have an extra year on his deal, but if he is available, it would help the Rangers for this year and next year, so it would be a very good add when the Rangers do have a dire need to fill a top 6 role, and Andrew Mangiapane would certainly help that. In 39 games played this year, he has 8 goals, 60 assists for 24 points, only has 2 power play goals, so he doesn't get a lot of power play opportunities, or it's just the fact that Calgary is a bad power play. I don't know which one it is, but he only has, or I should say only, he does have 39 PIMs on the year, so it is a little high, but he's averaging about 15 minutes of ice time. His point production could go up on a better team. Probably should, playing with Kreider and Zibanejad, if that gets them going 5v5, that is. And then you look at all of the analytics, it tells you pretty much the same thing, all of them, that he's a very good offensive player. Defensively, though, he is very below average, but he's in the 90th percentile in WAR. He's in the 97th percentile in even strength offense. So that would help this team tremendously because they're starving for even strength offense. He would be 7th on the team in hits per 60, 15th in block shots per 60, and 12th in takeaways per 60. So again, another one where the miscellaneous stats don't pop off the chart, but at least he throws the body a bit. And I'm pretty sure he's also someone that would just, he'd be the most physical player on that line, because Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad, if you look at their hits per 60, you'd want to vomit. But regardless, Andrew Mangiapane would be a very good fit to play with those two. And yeah, that's the next option on the list. Next up, we have what I think will be everybody's favorite option just because of the fact that he is a guy that plays center, and that is Elias Lindholm of the Calgary Flames, so Andrew Mangiapane's teammate. In 40 games played, he has 8 goals, 17 assists for 25 points. He's a -6 on the year, so definitely not the best baseline. He's got 17 PIMs on the year. He's averaging about 20 minutes of ice time, so people are not going to like the points that he has in terms of how much he is playing. But you have to remember, one, Calgary is just not a good team. Their power play is clearly not good, given he does not have a lot of power play points either. He only has 5 power play points right now on the season. That would go up playing on power play 2 here. And he's always a 50% face-off guy. And he does get Selke votes, despite the metrics telling you he's never been like the best defensive center. The analytics will tell you, though, he is not good at all in terms of even offense. But I'm tired of hearing about that, because you look at the previous few years, he has been consistently good offensively, not just from the base stat lines, but from the analytics. It's just because Calgary's not a good team this year. So I'm tired of hearing about how he's overrated or he wouldn't be a good pickup, especially if he's playing third line minutes. I think that would, if anything, help him out and help his case, because he would, one, probably drive the offense of that line, and two, he'd have less pressure on him playing behind guys like Vinny Trocheck and Mika Zibanejad, and maybe even he moves up and down the lineup a bit. Who knows what happens? That it gives them more options with the lineup, because then Trocheck can maybe play the 3C if, you know, things cool off on that line, or you want to spread the love a bit, and then Lindholm could slide into the 2C. You never know, but regardless, his miscellaneous stats, 10th on the team in hits per 60. That's where he would be if he was a Ranger. He would be 11th in block shots per 60 and 3rd in takeaways per 60. So is pretty good when it comes to taking the puck away. Yeah, Andrew Mangiapane, Elias Lindholm, I meant, would be another very good add. Both of them would be. You know, if they want to somehow get both and make the cap work somehow, I'd be very in favor of that. But regardless, Elias Lindholm, I think, would probably be one of the better options out of everyone. But I think people are going to also love this next option here, although some people think he's overrated. But we'll get into it. Next up on the list, we have someone that the Rangers almost acquired way back when in 2009, 2010. That is Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I'll admit this one is probably the biggest reach of them all, but I think it would be such a fun ad, such a cool one, coming full circle. Granted, I know that he's not having as good of a year as he is in previous, but even in a down year, in 38 games played, he has 16 goals, 22 assists for 38 points. He's a -19. He has 22 PIMs on the year. The thing that people do not like about him is how much of a power play merchant he's kind of been as of lately, but hey, I mean, still, 9 even strength goals would be more than what Mika Zibanejad has right now, and 8 even strength assists on the year. Shooting at 14%, he's averaging about 18 minutes of ice time. He wins a lot of faceoffs, so he would be very good to have in the faceoff dot. If he played with Mika Zibanejad, you could deploy him as a center for the faceoffs, and then Zibanejad could take more of the defensive responsibilities, and then Stamkos could play more of a wing responsibility. I think that would help both. That Stamkos has kind of regressed defensively, but his offense, the charts tell you that it's not that good this year. But man, like, come on, we know from previous years. I think a lot of it has to do with Tampa Bay just not being as good lately. And by as not good, they're still like a wild card team, but they regress as a team in general. You look at his chart, he would be in the 66th percentile, or he is, in terms of even strength offense. And you look at the miscellaneous stuff, not, again, something that will blow your socks off here. 14th in hits per 60, 15th in block shots per 60, and 14th in takeaways per 60. So not necessarily the sexiest numbers from this year, but we know what Steven Stamkos has been in prior years, including last year. So this isn't like a thing where, you know, he's been regressing for a long time now. It's really kind of shown this year more so than any. But imagine him on power play 2 as well. That would be just unbelievable. And on top of that, I think you're getting better 5v5 play from him, and I think it would be better here than it's been in Tampa Bay, but remains to be seen. And I don't even know if he becomes available, because Tampa might sneak into the playoffs, because they never go away. But yeah, that's Steven Stamkos. Next up, we have someone that I cannot even believe is on the big fish forward list here for me, but I do owe this guy an apology, and that is Daniel Sprong. And man, was I wrong about how good this guy is. I thought last year was more of a fluke, especially because of the shooting percentage being at a pretty high rate than what's been before. Granted, he had a 70% shooting percentage year, but it was at 14% last year. And I thought that was going to come back down to earth and it was going to make his numbers regress. And man, he's pretty much on pace to have similar numbers, if not maybe even better. In 40 games played, he has 10 goals, 16 assists for 26 points. He's a +3 on the year, 16 PIMs. And a lot of it is from even strength as numbers. I mean, he has 2 power play goals. He has 5 power play assists. So 7 out of his 26 points come from the power play. Still not bad at all. He's only averaging about 13 minutes of ice time. So maybe you get more, especially because he would play in the top 6 here. And the Rangers could have just got him in free agency for only $2 million instead of signing Blake Wheeler. But regardless, you look at all the metrics too, it tells you that he is a very good offensive player, especially at even strength. He's in the 83rd percentile at even strength offense according to the JFresh charts. And if you look at the Andy Rono model, he is in the 97th percentile. And in terms of the miscellaneous stuff, 14th in hits per 60, 17th in block shots per 60, and 13th in takeaways per 60. He would be such a good threat when it comes to just a trigger man, whether it's on the power play they put him, and just on even strike too. He would be someone that would actually be willing to shoot the puck, and it would add such a big threat and a much needed one to the top 6 when it comes to scoring. Or even if you play him on the 3rd line, you get that type of scoring depth from your 3rd line. Yeah, I would take that too. Daniel Sprong has to be one of the bigger targets on the deadline, especially because his cap hit's not even that high too. But yeah, Daniel Sprong, proving me wrong. Next up, we have the guy that's definitely the most unrealistic, unfortunately, because he would be the best fit of them all. But I'm going to talk about him anyway by the slim chance that it is possible that he's moved in division. And that is Jake Guentzel of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And just thinking about it, he would be the perfect fit for this team, and he would be the best ad, and it's not even close out of anyone that we've talked about. A guy that has put up 40 goals twice in his career, almost did last year as well. In 39 games played this year, has 18 goals, 26 assists for 44 points. He's a +9 on the year. He only has 12 PIMs, so doesn't take a lot of penalties at all. He has 3 power play goals on the year thus far, 7 power play assists, so he could maybe even have room for more power play production. He averages about 20 minutes of ice time. His shooting percentage is at 12.9 this year so far. He's a guy that's consistently been like a 14, 15 shooting percentage guy. So there's definitely more room for that to improve as well. It's not like something where his 15% shooting percentage is unsustainable. No, this is Jake Guentzel we're talking about. And all the charts, spare me this because I know it's going to be in the comments. Well, he doesn't play defense. Spare me all of that. You're getting one of the best offensive players in the game and pure goal scorers in terms or just better 5v5 players, I should just say. His even strength offense is in the 98th percentile. You're out of your mind if you think that Jake Guentzel's defense would be any reason for me to not want him to be a Ranger, or just any Ranger fan for him to not want him to be a Ranger. You're out of your mind if you're going to say that in the comment section. Get out of here if you're going to say that. He would be 14th on the team in hits per 60, 15th in block shots per 60, and 13th in takeaways per 60. You're not here or you're not getting Jake Guentzel, I should say, for those type of numbers. You're getting him because the guy puts the puck in the back of the net. The guy helps his teammates put the puck in the back of the net. Jake Guentzel would be the best ad here. Unfortunately, though, probably the most unrealistic. And last up on the list here, we got former Ranger in Vladimir Tarasenko. And I'm not as much on the Tarasenko bandwagon as I was this offseason and last year. And I'll be honest, I think the Rangers actually might have done the right thing by not paying Vladimir Tarasenko. Granted, it would have been a 1-year deal, so I'm kind of a little annoyed about it, especially considering what they have on the roster now. But regardless, yeah, they might have made the right move to not risk giving him, because for all we know, they would have gave him more term and then a lower AAV to make it work. And that would have just been a poor decision, because Tarasenko has kind of regressed more and more. And you got to question if we're starting to see the decline here of Vladimir Tarasenko. But even then, he's putting up very solid numbers, pretty much the same numbers he put up for the Rangers last year at the deadline. In 33 games played, he has 8 goals, just like he had with the Rangers, 24 assists, so 3 more assists in 2 more games played. He's a +8 on the year, 10 PIMs on the year, shooting at 11.9%. And yeah, I mean, he's getting not too much ice time, surprisingly. He has 4 power play assists, only 1 power play goal, so you're not getting the power power play production you normally would get from a guy like Tarasenko, but I think that's a lot because of how Ottawa is. And you look at the metrics, it tells you pretty much that the guy does not play defense at all. We knew this when the Rangers got him last year, and he kind of made better defensive plays than the charts say when he was here, but he still wasn't the most impressive defensive guy. His even strength offense is kind of middle of the pack this year, so he's definitely not as sexy of a pick this year as he was last year. He would be 8th on the Rangers in hits per 60, 15th in block shots per 60, and 14th in takeaways per 60. If he wants to come back and only wants to come here again with that no trade clause, then I would definitely be in favor of the Rangers making a move like this. But I'm not as big on Tarasenko this year as I was in previous years, if I'm being honest. And if I'm being completely honest in general, he's my least favorite option out of every single one that we talked about in this video. In my opinion, I'd rather them get... definitely Guentzel's the top guy. My second guy would probably be Sprong or Kane, and then Mangiapane and Lindholm are in that conversation as well. But yeah, the Rangers do have a lot of them, and don't get me wrong, this is not me saying I'd be mad if they got any of these guys. I'd be very, very thrilled if they got any of these guys. Hell, get all of them. Like, let's just, turn off the salary cap, right? Like, let's just do that. In all seriousness, though, yeah, those are all the big fish names for the trade deadline this year, potentially for the Rangers to target. Let me know your favorite in the comment section down below. Would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next. And I'll see you in the next one. Let's go, Rangers.